The man who sold the Eiffel Tower. Twice. In 1925, a man walked into one of Paris's finest hotels, checked in as a government official, and invited 6 of the city's wealthiest scrap metal dealers to a private meeting. He was about to sell them the Eiffel Tower. It wasn't his to sell, and somehow one of them paid him anyway. To understand this story, you have to understand one thing about the Eiffel Tower in the 1920s. Nobody actually liked it. When it was built in 1889, it was meant to be temporary, a 20-year exhibit piece scheduled for demolition. By the mid-1920s, it was rusting, expensive to maintain, and the subject of constant newspaper complaints. Parisians called it an eyesore. There were even public petitions demanding it be torn down. This rumor, that the city was finally going to scrap it, was common enough that most Parisians believed it was only a matter of time. One man read those rumors and saw an opportunity nobody else did. His name was Victor Lustig, and he may have been the most talented con artist who ever lived. By the time this story ends, he won't have just conned 6 millionaires. He'll con one of the most feared gangsters in American history and live to tell the joke. Lustig didn't start with the millionaires. He started with paper. He forged official government stationery from the Ministry of Posts and Telegraphs, the department that, coincidentally, actually did oversee the tower. Using that letterhead, he wrote personal invitations to 6 of Paris's top scrap metal dealers, requesting a confidential meeting at the Hôtel de Crillon, one of the most prestigious addresses in the city. The letter explained that due to the crippling cost of upkeep, the government had secretly decided to demolish the tower and sell it for scrap. Because the decision was certain to be unpopular with the public, the meeting needed absolute discretion. Every man who received that letter believed it. Why wouldn't they? The rumors were already out there. All Lustig did was confirm what Paris already suspected. All 6 dealers showed up. Lustig, playing the role of a deputy director general, met them in a rented suite, complete with a government car and driver he'd hired for the day. He gave them a tour of the tower itself, walked them through fabricated demolition logistics, and took private bids, reminding each man quietly that this was a sensitive matter and discretion would be rewarded. That last detail mattered more than anything else in the entire con, because one bidder, a scrap dealer named André Poisson, was new to the city's business elite and desperate to break into it. Poisson's wife reportedly grew suspicious. Why would a legitimate government official need to hint at bribes? But Lustig had already anticipated that exact doubt. He leaned into it. When Poisson hesitated, Lustig didn't panic or over-explain. He simply admitted almost sheepishly that yes, as an underpaid government official, he did need a little something extra to make this arrangement worth the risk to his career. That admission is what sealed the deal. A government worker demanding a bribe felt real. It matched everything Poisson already believed about how business got done behind closed doors in Paris. The small, embarrassing confession made the entire, enormous lie believable. Poisson paid Lustig for the tower and paid him an additional bribe on top of it. By the time Poisson realized there was no demolition, no sale, and no deputy director, Lustig was already gone. Poisson never went to the police. He was too humiliated to admit publicly that he'd been conned out of buying the Eiffel Tower, which meant Lustig got away completely clean. And here's the part almost nobody believes. A month later, he went back to Paris and sold the tower again to a different buyer. Lustig eventually left Europe for the United States, where his ambition only grew. He ran counterfeit money operations, impersonated royalty and diplomats to swindle banks, and, in perhaps his boldest move, approached Al Capone directly. Lustig convinced Capone to invest $50,000 in a stock deal, then returned the money 2 months later, claiming the deal had fallen through. He gave Capone's money back in full. Why would a con man return the money? Because he wasn't after $50,000. He was after Capone's trust, and it worked. Capone, impressed by his apparent honesty, reportedly gave Lustig a reward of several $1,000s on the spot. Lustig had turned honesty itself into the con. Lustig's luck ran out in 1935, when the Secret Service finally caught up with his counterfeiting operation. He was sentenced to 20 years and sent to Alcatraz. He died there in 1947, officially of pneumonia. His death certificate listed his occupation as salesman, which in a strange way might be the most accurate job title anyone has ever had. The Eiffel Tower still stands today, the very monument nobody wanted, sold twice by a man who owned none of it. Some historians call Lustig a criminal. Others call him one of the most brilliant psychological minds of the 20th century. Maybe both are true. If this story surprised you, history has thousands more just like it. Moments you were never taught, hiding in plain sight. This is the story of history. If you want more stories like this one, subscribe and I'll see you in the next episode.